So we're going to be standing at the back end of the mat with the feet hip distance apart. Good. Now we start with the hands by the side of the rib cage and think about standing really tall, weight is on your feet, you have a hip, rib cage and crown of the head, everything in one line. We're going to think about inhaling through the nose, trying to send the air to the side and the back of the rib cage. And as you exhale, feel the rib cage sinking down and in. And again, inhale, open up the chest. So you really want to feel the rib cage is opening to the side. And then as you exhale, it closes down and in. And again, inhale, opening the rib cage to the side. And exhale. And again, inhale and exhale. Now you want to make sure you are inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And especially when you exhale, try to feel the rib cage naturally sinking down and in and your hands getting closer to each other. And again, inhale through the nose, feel the rib cage opening to the side and back, trying to keep the shoulders more or less relaxed. And then as you exhale, rib cage sinks down and in. Last one, inhale and exhale. And then when you're ready, drop the arms, chin to the chest, bend the knees, and roll all the way down towards the mat. Now, if someone has any lower back issues that doesn't allow you to roll all the way down towards the mat, make sure you're only rolling down from your upper back, staying here, and then rolling all the way back up. So for everyone else, we just think chin to the chest, bending the knees, lifting from the belly button, and rolling all the way down towards the mat. Crown of the head is very heavy. Then think about sit bones down towards the mat, squeezing the glutes, and bone by bone, rolling all the way up, 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 up. Now we're gonna roll the shoulders back a few times and forward. And then when you're ready, back to center, chin to the chest, bend the knees, lifting already from your lower abdominals. Roll all the way down towards the mat. Now crown of the head is really heavy. And then squeeze the glutes, belly button in, roll all the way back up. And again, we roll the shoulders back and forward. Good, bend the knees, chin to the chest, belly button is in, and roll all the way down towards the mat. Now in here again, squeeze the glutes and roll all the way back up, trying to keep shoulders away from the ears. Good, now from here, we're gonna have the arms extended in front of us. We're gonna lift shoulders towards the ears and then think about the squeezing the lats, bring the shoulders away from the ears. And again, lift it up and down. Now you just want to warm up the shoulders a little bit, trying to isolate the movement coming from the muscles around the scapula. So you don't want to start moving the arms too much. The hands are straight in front of you, and you're just lifting up and squeezing down. And again, lifting up, shoulders towards the ears, so you're lengthening on the side, and then you squeeze the lats, shoulders away from the ears. And again, and up and down, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, like if you're blowing a candle. Last one. Now stay somewhere in between. We're gonna reach fingertips forward, so feel the upper back is widening, shoulder blades are moving away from each other, and then squeeze shoulder blades together, bring the shoulders back and in. And again, reach fingertips forward, shoulder blades are moving away from each other, and then squeeze them back in, squeezing shoulder blades together, and again. And reach and squeeze back. Now same thing, we try not to move the arms too much. We are isolating the movement from the scapula, so we try to keep arms long in parallel with each other, and we try not to move the elbows too much either. So we are just squeezing back and reaching forward. And again, squeezing back and reaching forward. Last one, and squeeze and reach. Drop the arms, chin to the chest, and roll all the way down towards the mat. Now, if you have any lower back issues, just make sure you're bending the knees and you find a safe way onto your cuddle pad position on the mat. On our hands and knees, we're gonna think about squeezing the glutes, call the tailbone under, and press the floor away from you as you think about connecting belly button up towards the spine and the ceiling. Now stay here. As you inhale, think about sending the tailbone out and away from the crown of the head, open up the chest and look front. And again, squeeze the glutes, leading with the tailbone first, belly button in, bone by bone, press the floor away from you, head is last, dropping the head down towards the mat, stay here, and now think about tailbone out first, and bone by bone, inhale, open up the chest. Now keep going at your own pace, you exhale, bring the belly button in, you try to delay, head is last, pressing the floor away from you, and then inhale, open up the chest, look front, and again, exhale, And inhale. Just 2 more. Exhale. In. Pressing the floor away from you. And exhale. The very last one. Inhale. And we're going to hold it there. Now we stay here and we try to find this beautiful connection of the belly button connecting towards the spine. So you think about pressing slightly the floor away from you with your hands. As you lift the chest up a little bit more, belly button is lifting up towards the spine a little bit more. Keep lifting, hovering everything in away from the mat. Crown of the head is really pointing down towards the floor. One more breath in here. And then when you're ready, think about lifting the tailbone away from the crown of the head. Open up the chest. And then just belly button in. Press yourself back into a shallow stretch, just sitting on your heels. Trying to allow the shoulders to relax. Belly button is in. Good, we stay here for one more breath. And then when you're ready, just think about rolling back onto your heels, all the way back, sitting on your heels, and we're gonna turn around, laying down on the mat. On our, we're laying down on the mat on our backs, and we have the feet flat on the mat with the knee bent. Try to have the knee parallel to each other, and we have the arms straight up towards the ceiling. Now keeping a small space in between the lower back and the mat, so you have like space for your hand, roughly your hand, in between the lower back and the mat. We're gonna reach the arms back overhead as far as we can keep rib cage in. So make sure you don't bring the arms all the way back and you end up flaring the rib cage. This means you're going too far. We all have different ranges, so you wanna think about exhaling as you reach the arms back, and you stop when the rib cage wants to pop up. And then you think about using your abdominals to keep it in, and then inhale, bring the arms back up. And again, exhale, reach the arms back as far as you can keep the rib cage in, using the core to stabilize the torso, and then reach the arms back up. Now at the same time, you want to make sure you're not moving the pelvis. So the only thing you're doing is reaching the arms back, controlling the movement with the core, and then back up. And again, reach it back, finding your range, using the core to make sure pelvis and rib cage is not moving, and then back up. And again, exhale, reach. And inhale up, and now we're gonna scissor the arms. One arm is going down, the other arm is going up, and then back to center, we change. And again, inhale, center, exhale, reach. Inhale, center, exhale, reach. Same thing, trying to stay very stable and isolating the movement only from the muscles around the shoulder blades. We try not to move the torso to the side or the pelvis. We stay really still. As we inhale, pass through center, and exhale, reach, very last one. Making sure you've done both sides, up and down. And then when you're ready, back to center, bring the arms by your side. We're gonna keep the pelvis in neutral, so you still keep this small space in between the lower back and the mat, hands behind the head. Now it's a smaller movement that we normally think. Inhale, and as you exhale, think a slight head nod. Look towards your knees and lift, only from your rib cage, making sure you're not moving the pelvis. So pelvis stays really still, and you're just lifting up from your rib cage to pelvis as you lift, and then release back down. So you want to make sure as you're lifting, you're keeping abdominals in, pelvis is not moving, and you're gliding the rib cage towards the pelvis, and then you release back down. And again, exhale, look towards your knees, lift it up, making sure you're not moving the pelvis this way or this way. You stay really still, and release back down. And again, and up, rib cage to pelvis, lift, inhale, release. And again, exhale, belly button in, a slight head nod, lift, lift, lift without moving the pelvis, and then release back down. And again, lift it up, and release. Just 2 more. Exhale up, look towards the knees, a slight head nod, release. Last one, we're gonna lift it up and hold. Now in here, make sure you're not losing the gap in between the lower back and the mat. We're gonna go very small pulses, isolating the movement from the rib cage. So you pulse and pulse. Think about rib cage to pelvis all the time, really small. Thinking about your upper abdominals, helping you flex the upper back 1 millimeter higher every time without moving the pelvis at all. Now keep thinking about looking towards your knees and make sure you're not jamming the chin towards the chest. So you always keep a small space in between the chin and the chest. We're gonna go 4 more, small pulses, 3, 2, and 1. Release back down. And now think about flattening the lower back on the mat. So we want to think about hip bones are lifting towards the rib cage as we get rid of this little gap in between the lower back and the mat, and then release. And again, think about hip bones to rib cage as you flatten the lower back on the mat, and then release. You want the glutes really relaxed, so you want to concentrate on using only your oblique muscles to shorten the distance between the rib cage and the pelvis, and hence flattening the lower back on the mat. And then stick the bum out, release, finding again a small gap in between the lower back and the mat. And again, imprint the spine, glutes are relaxed, make sure you're not squeezing them, and then release. And again, just a slight imprint of the lower back using the core, and release. Just 2 more, finding the imprint, and release. Last one, find the imprint and stay there. Now very slowly bring one leg to tabletop position, making sure you're not losing the imprint as you bring the leg up, and now keep the imprint, second leg up to tabletop position. So you want to make sure you're still feeling the lower back is really flat and glute against the mat. Good, we're gonna go again, arms straight up towards the ceiling, keeping the knee more or less in line with the hips. Lower abdominals are in, we're gonna reach the arms back. Same thing, making sure we go as far as we can keep rib cage and lower abdominals in, and then go back up. So you want to make sure the spine, every vertebra of the spine is touching the mat. The moment you feel you're arching any bit of your spine, it means you're going too far with your arms and that you're losing the control of your core. So you want to make sure you're reaching back, 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 exhale, everything is in, inhale up. And again, exhale, reach the arms up, making sure everything stays in, and back up. And again, reach back, 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 belly button is in, challenge the core is in, and up. And again, and reach, 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 and up. Just one more, reach back, and up. Now stay here, hands behind the head. Think about rib cage to pelvis, similar movement we've done earlier, without moving the lower back. Lift it up, and then release back down. And again, we keep lower back flat on the mat all the time, and we just think a slight head nod, looking towards your knees, rib cage to pelvis as you lift, and then release back down. So you want to think you're going slightly up and over from your upper back, so you're lifting up and over, lift, looking towards your knees, thinking about trying to bring shoulder blades, the last tip of the shoulder blades off the mat, and then release back down. And again, lift it up, 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 look towards your knees, and release. And again, and exhale, going up and over, looking towards your knees, and release. Just 2 more. Lift it up and down, making sure abdominals are in all the time, on the way up and on the way down. Good, we're gonna lift it up again and hold. Now we stay here, we go again for the small pulses. Keep looking towards your knees, and release. And exhale, small pulse, inhale, release. Very small, I can barely see it. And release. And again, and exhale up, inhale down, and exhale up, isolating from your rib cage, and release. Every time we try to think about going 1 millimeter higher, and we're thinking about lifting the tip of the shoulder blades off the mat. It's okay if we're not there yet, but we want to move with the intention of thinking every time we're curling 1 millimeter higher, and we're aiming for the tip of the shoulder blades off the mat, and then release back down. Just 2 more like that. We're gonna do the last one, lift it up. Now when you're ready, release. And slowly bring one leg to tabletop position and the other leg to tabletop position, making sure lower back is flat. Good, now from here, trying to keep the knees more or less in line with the ankles. Arms are by your side. We wanna feel 10 toes relaxed on the mat, but more weight on the heels. So the whole foot is flat on the mat, but the weight is on the heels. Now think about the squeezing sit bones together, curling the tailbone under, lifting from your lower abdominals, and then bone by bone, slowly, slowly, peel the spine off the mat all the way up until you balance on your shoulder blades. Now make sure you're not flaring the rib cage. You allow the rib cage to sink down and in, and you want to make sure that your weight is not on the neck. So you should feel the shoulder blades supporting you quite naturally on the mat. Now keep squeezing the glutes, and then bone by bone, thinking about keeping the tailbone as high as you can. You're gonna release the spine against the mat. Tailbone is last. Now release, find your neutral spine one more time. And then when you're ready, squeeze the glutes together, press through the heels, keeping 10 toes on the mat, and then lifting from your pelvic floor, Squeezing the glutes, reaching knees up and over. Reaching, trying not to bring the shoulders in, keep them wide against the mat. Now you stop when the weight is on the shoulder blades. Remember, we keep the rib cage in, and then bone by bone, release all the way down towards the mat. Tailbone is last to touch. And again, think about finding the neutral spine, and exhale when you're ready, squeezing the glutes, belly button is in, bone by bone, lifting all the way up, thinking about going up and over with the knees towards your toes, lift it up, rib cage is in, keep pressing the floor away from you. Now we stay here and we check first. Sometimes what happens is we start shifting back. We want to try to have the energy sending it actually forward towards the toes. So make sure you're not just reaching back, you're reaching forward. One way to achieve that is to think about almost like if you're dragging the heels towards you. So the heels are not moving, but you have this feeling of hugging the heels in towards your hamstrings and your sit bones. Now, we're gonna, level 1, you stay here with the arms by your side. Level 2, we're gonna reach the arms up towards the ceiling, making sure we keep wide collarbones. We're gonna stay here for a few breaths, trying to concentrate on finding this really solid foundation of the legs, no weight on the head or the neck, and trying to think about reaching knees forward so that we don't hinge back too much. Rib cage is in. Just 2 more breaths in here. Keep finding your glutes and the back of the legs. Last one. And then when you're ready, arms by your side, everyone. And as you exhale, think an exhale, rib cage in, keeping the tailbone high, and then bone by bone, using the core, release the spine back down on the mat, making sure tailbone is last to touch the mat. We're gonna go again. Inhale, release everything, and as you exhale, squeezing the glutes, bone by bone, thinking ribcage towards pelvis, lifting the spine off the mat, thinking about your ribcage already is connecting towards the spine. We stop here, same thing, make sure you're not shifting back. Use your legs to have more weight towards your heels. Good, now very slowly, we're gonna think about lifting the heels of the right leg, and then the ball of the foot, and then the toes, and just stay there. Hovering the toe off the mat, finding your supporting leg, and then very slowly, toes, ball, heel, release. Make sure pelvis is a square, and same thing, keep thinking about dragging the heels towards you as we go for the second side. We're lifting the heel of the mat, then the ball of the foot, then the toes, and then we stay there for 1 breath, and then we release toes, ball, heel. We go again with the first side. Square the hip up first, find the connection of the back of the legs, and we go heel, ball, toes of the right leg, finding your supporting leg, using the core to keep the pelvis as square as we can, and then slowly, toes, ball, heel, and to the second side, heel, ball, toe, hold it there, find your supporting leg, and then when you're ready, release. Toes, ball, heel, find your center, and then again, bone by bone, using the core, release the spine towards the mat, making sure that you try to delay tailbone touching the mat as much as you can. Good, shake it out a little bit if you need to. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go again, finding our imprinted spine. So think about using the oblique muscles to flatten lower back on the mat, and lifting 1 leg to tabletop position, keeping abdominals in, and second leg to tabletop position. Now from here, we're gonna have the arms straight up towards the ceiling, keeping belly button in, rib cage in. We're gonna think about going up and over with the arms, almost like if we are moving through really thick air. So we find the resistance as we reach the arms forward, already engaging the lats and reaching fingertips forward, and then back up. And again, imagine you're pressing against something as you bring the arms down, and then back up. And again, exhale, imagine you're pressing against something you need to resist to find your way down towards the mat, and then back up. Now start thinking about your rib cage. Every time you press down, you exhale, you bring rib cage in, belly button in towards the mat even more, and then release. And again, exhale, think about your lats, rib cage in, belly button in, and then back up. And again, exhale, press, press, press. Good, next one. I'm gonna invite you as you exhale, lift it up, look towards your knees, thinking about your rib cage and your arms, everything is moving together as you reach, and then slowly release back down. And again, think rib cage up and over, belly button in, abdominals in, reach fingertips forward, stay, stay, stay. and then release back down. And again, exhale, a slight head nod, look towards your knees, connect with your rib cage as you lift, 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 and then release back down, keeping the belly button in all the time. And again, exhale, lift, and inhale down. And again, and exhale, lift, 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 and inhale down. Last two, exhale, lift, 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 belly button in, reaching fingertips forward as much as you can, release. Last one, lift it up and hold. We're gonna stay here and we're gonna reach the right leg away, hold it there. Bring it back in, keep reaching fingertips forward, don't give up, keep the upper body up. Reach the left leg away, bring it back in, and then slowly release the head back down. Good, just shake it out a little bit if you need to. You can just roll the legs side to side. And when you're ready, we find again our imprinted position with the lower back flat on the mat. Arms are straight up towards the ceiling. And again, same thing, thinking about ribcage towards pelvis. We're gonna lift it up, looking towards your knees, belly button is in and reach. Good, now from here, just gonna test it out. We're gonna play around with the arms, making sure that as we move the arms, we manage to keep the ribcage in and abdominals in. Good, just two more. Keep challenging the core, don't give up, don't drop back, stay up as much as you can. And then when you're ready, arms up and slowly release back down. Now keep the belly button in. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift, reaching fingertips forward. We're gonna reach one knee, hug it in and in towards your nose, belly button in, and switch. Now same thing, you don't drop back, you stay up, connecting ribcage to hip bones here at the front, and you hug one knee in as you reach the other leg away in opposition, and hug it in, belly button in, and switch. Exhale, hug it in, inhale, switch, and keep going at your own pace, really concentrating on your core, trying to stay up, and make sure you don't jam the chin towards the chest, so just keep reaching the legs away, and reach, and reach, and reach, just four more, 3, 2, 1, back to center, just think about 1 millimeter higher if you can, and then release back down. Whew, good job. Shake it out a little bit. And when you're ready, we're gonna bring both knees together, legs on top of the hip. Now make sure you're squeezing inner thighs together as much as you can. So imagine you're holding a credit card in between the inner thighs. Now hands behind the head. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift. And now we're gonna go for the obliques. We're gonna rotate slightly to the left, back to center, and to the right. And again, we rotate to the left, back to center, and to the right. Now keep going at your own pace, making sure that you rotate as you exhale, then back to center as you inhale and exhale. And inhale, center, and exhale. Now same thing, you want to think your obliques are not on your shoulders, they are across your abdomen. So you want to make sure when you rotate, you don't think so much about hugging in from the shoulder. You want to think about moving across. So one rib cage is going towards the opposite pelvis, and the other rib cage is going across the other pelvis. So maybe the movement is slower, but you really want to make sure you're feeling it on your core and not so much crunching from your upper back. Good, level 1, just give me 4 more like this. Level 2, we're gonna rotate as we extend the opposite leg, back to center, and switch sides. And again, back to center, and switch sides. Back to center, and switch. Back to center, and switch. And switch, just one more each side, belly button is in, reach, and reach. Back to center, and release. Good, shake it out. Before we go back to the glutes, we have just one more for the core. We're gonna keep legs together and the hands by the side of the legs. Now we're gonna inhale, and as we exhale, same thing. From your ribcage towards the pelvis, lifting up and over, looking towards your knees, connecting with your core. We're gonna reach both legs away, keep squeezing with your hands the legs, squeezing inner thighs together, and then use the core. Think about using the core to gather the legs back in. Good, and again, we're gonna reach the legs away, 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 keep squeezing inner thighs, belly button is in, and then bring the legs back in. And again, exhale, reach, inhale in, using the core, slowly, slowly, think about gathering from the core, and then reach. Good, now level 1, you stick to this one. Level 2, we're gonna also reach the arms overhead, and then back in. And again, reach the arms overhead, and then back in, together with the legs. Reaches everything in without dropping the upper body, and then back in. Last one, reach the weight, and in, and reach, hold it there, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gather it back in, and release. Whew. Shake it out. Have a sip of water if you want to before we go back to the glutes. And we're gonna be laying down on the mat again, on our backs, with the feet hip distance apart. And same thing, thinking about the heels more or less in line with your knees. Good, arms are by your side. And same thing, when you're ready, 10 toes are pressing against the mat, but you wanna have a little bit more weight on your heels. Now think about curving the tailbone under, squeezing the sit bones together, and then bone by bone, pressing equally through both feet. We're gonna lift to find our bridge. Now try in here, as we stay on our bridge, to check whether you're pressing equally through both feet. Sometimes we have one leg that is dropping a little bit, and it helps sometimes if we try to see if the pressure on the floor is even on both feet. Now from here, keep squeezing the glutes. Remember, weight is on the shoulder blades, not the neck. Rib cage is not flaring up. On the contrary, we have the rib cage in, sinking down and in, lifting sit bones up towards the ceiling. And remember this feeling of reaching the knees slightly forward so that we don't drop back too much. Now, from here, we're gonna go very slowly, lifting the heel of the mat, ball of the foot, toes of the mat, and we're gonna bring the leg to tabletop position. Think about the squeezing inner thighs together and making sure you're not dropping to the side. So you wanna think about this glute is still somehow connecting with the other glute so that you don't drop. We stay here and we're gonna just think about tapping the toes down and bring the leg back up. Now every time you tap, you connect with your core and your glute and then back up. So you wanna prevent this from happening as you tap. You wanna stay as square as you can, and then we tap and release. And we tap and release. Just 4 more. Tap and release, and tap and release. Last 2. Last 1. Good, bring the leg back to tabletop position. Level 1, stay here. Level 2, arms straight up towards the ceiling. Hold it there. Think about your core, the connection between your 2 glutes, so you're not dropping, you're lifting it up. And then slowly, arms by your side, bring the foot back down. And then bone by bone, square the hip up first. We're gonna release the spine towards the mat. Tailbone is last to touch. Good, now when you're ready, stick the bum out, and then bone by bone. Just think about curling the spine of the mat. All the way up, 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 up. Finding weight on the shoulder blades, rib cage is in. We're gonna go slowly. Second leg, heel of the mat, ball of the foot, toes, and then very slowly, bring the leg to tabletop position. Now same thing. Keep the pelvis square. We're gonna tap and up, and tap and up. Remember, the more you use the glutes of the working leg, the more you can prevent the pelvis from dropping to the side. So try to think about keep squeezing inner thighs together, keep lifting up and keeping both glutes connected all the time. Just 3 more. Last 2. And last 1. Back to center. Now level 1, stay here. Level 2, arms straight up towards the ceiling, thinking about the squeezing inner thighs together. Keep it there, connecting inner thighs, making sure you're not dropping to the side. And then when you're ready, arms by your side, bring the foot back down, and then bone by bone, all the way down, releasing the spine on the mat. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. We're gonna do just 1 more in this position. Same thing. We're gonna call the tailbone under, pressing through the heels with 10 toes on the mat, and then bone by bone, lifting the spine of the mat, thinking about reaching knees up and over. Rib cage is in, weight is on the shoulder blades. Now we're gonna bring the right leg in line with the other knee. So make sure you're not dropping, make sure it's not too high. You wanna have both knees in line with each other. Now we're gonna open the leg slightly to the side, just 1 or 2 inches, and then squeeze it back in. While you do this, you wanna make sure the other leg is not moving, so you have 1 leg very stable and you're just opening to the side and back in. Now keep looking straight up towards the ceiling. We open the leg and in. Just 3, and 2, and 1. Slowly bring the leg back down. We're gonna go straight to the second side. We're gonna reach the second leg away, making sure both knees are in line, so leg is not too high. And same thing, keeping this leg on the same plane all the time. We're gonna play around with the other leg. So we are just isolating the movement from one leg, trying to keep the pelvis really still. Last two, last one. Back to center, bend the knee, and then bone by bone, release the spine on the mat, all the way down, and just maybe grab your legs. Give yourself a nice hug and roll the spine side to side to release the lower back. Good, now either roll all the way back or just roll to your side to find yourself laying down on your belly. Have a sip of water before we continue if you need to. Good, now we're gonna be laying down on our bellies on the mat. We're gonna start by having the hands under the forehead and the knees pointing to the side. So you have the legs in a nice diamond shape and you're squeezing both heels together, flexing the toes. Now try not to have the legs dropping back too much. You want them to have more or less in line with the knees. Now, you're not sticking the bum out, belly button is in, so you want a really long lower back and you're squeezing sit bones together. In this position, we're gonna think about squeezing heels together, squeeze, and then release. And again, squeeze the heels together and release. Now, while you do that, you wanna make sure every time you squeeze and release, pelvis is not moving. So there is no shifting of the shape of the pelvis. You have a really long lower back and you are just isolating the movement from your glutes and the back of the legs. You're connecting everything at the back of the legs, squeeze, and release. Now you think about belly button is away from the mat and both hip bones are pressing against the mat. We're gonna go again and squeeze and release and squeeze, connecting with the back of the legs. Just two more. And then when you're ready, we're gonna do the last one. Trying to remember these muscles, we're gonna reach the legs away. I'm gonna give you options. If you have a really good lower back, go ahead and bring both legs together, squeezing inner thighs. Myself, because I have a little bit of tightness on the lower back, I always like to keep the legs hip distance apart. So for tightness on the lower back, legs hip distance apart, good lower back, legs together, squeezing inner thighs together. Now, same thing, hands under the shoulders, squeezing elbows in and making sure that you keep this connection of the glutes connecting with the back of the legs, long lower back, reaching toes away from the crown of the head. We're gonna think about plugging shoulder blades down and back and using this motion to lift the chest off the mat, only from your upper back, so you don't have to go too high. Just wanna think about plugging shoulder blades down and back, opening up the chest, looking towards the front edge of the mat, and then bone by bone, keep squeezing the glutes as you release back down. And again, plugging shoulder blades down and back, finding your upper back, lifting up, looking towards the front edge of the mat, and then release back down. And again, plugging shoulder blades down and back, lift it up, keep squeezing glutes, don't give up on the glutes, keep reaching legs away from the crown of the head, and then release back down. Good, keep going at your own pace. You can think about inhaling as you go up, and exhaling as you go down, and really think about trying to make sure that the legs stay on the mat all the time, but also you want to think you're lifting up and over, crown of the head is leading, and then when you release, you keep thinking about lengthening crown of the head away from the toes. So you keep lengthening on the way up, and you keep lengthening on the way down. Trying to see if we are pressing equally through both hands against the mat, so that we don't have one dominant side doing more of the work. And then when you're ready, we're gonna do the last one, lift it up and hold it there. Stay there, maybe try to see if you can lift the hands off the mat, but using the upper back to keep you up, making sure you're not contracting your lower back. We stay there, and then slowly release. Shake it out a little bit. We're gonna have the hands under the forehead with the elbows pointing to the side. The hands stay with the forehead all the time. We're just gonna lift up from your upper back and then release. Now, same thing, don't lose the support of your glutes and the back of the legs. Keep squeezing it in, keep the long lower back, and just think about lifting up from your upper back and release. And again, lifting up from your upper back and release. Keeping your hands with your forehead all the time. Good, so as you lift, you wanna think, imagine someone is pulling your elbows out and away. This activates your upper back muscles. You lift, 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 and then release. It's a smaller movement than you think. You don't have to go too high, but you really wanna feel your upper back working really hard to lift you up and release. We're gonna do just one more. Lift it up and release, and then when you're ready, you're gonna press yourself back into a shallow stretch, sitting on your heels to release the lower back. Now, at this moment, if you want, you can have the arms by your side. So instead of reaching them forward, you can have them back towards your toes and just allowing everything to rest down against the mat. We stay here for one more breath. And then when you're ready, think about curling the tailbone under and then one by one, articulating the spine back up, sitting on your heels. Good. Now, let's go onto your quadruped position, but you're gonna do this on your forearms first. So you want to have the elbows in line with the shoulders and the knees more or less in line with the hips. So make sure the knee is not too far back because it's going to make everything a lot harder. So try to keep the knee more or less in line with the hip. Now, squeezing inner thighs together, we're going to start by reaching the leg away. Just find a really long line in which you have crown of the head in line with your shoulders, long neck, rib cage is in, belly button is in, and just think about reaching the leg away and finding your stability first. Now, don't collapse the chest down, keep pressing the floor away from you and the shoulders away from the ears. Now, think about bringing the leg in and reach it back again without moving the torso too much. Bring the leg in and reach it back. And again, and in and out, trying to find the stability of moving the leg without moving the torso. Good, last one, reach the leg away. Now lift it up in line with your hip, and we're gonna think about flexing the toes, bringing the heel towards your bum, and then point the toes, reach the leg away. And again, and flex and in, and point and reach. Good, now try not to drop the knee as you do this. You wanna make sure that you're flexing and trying your best to keep the knee at the same height all the time, and then point and reach. Now rib cage is in, lower abdominals in, as you bend, and keep everything hanging in towards your center as you reach. And flex, and point and reach. Just one more flex, and point and reach. Reach, reach, reach. Bend the knee, and we're gonna go straight to the second side. Just make sure you square yourself up again. Keep pressing the floor away from you, shoulders away from the ears, so don't be here. Keep the scapula really engaged. And we're gonna reach the second leg away. Now, think about lower abdominals, rib cage is in. We're gonna just think about bringing the knee in and reaching the leg away, trying to keep the torso very stable. So we keep using the core to find the stability as we play around with the leg. Good, just 4 more. Last 2. Last 1. And when you're ready, you're gonna reach it again, reach it there, find your length, connect with your core and your upper back. We're gonna lift the leg up. Keep reaching away and we go. We flex and bring the knee in and then point the toes and reach. And again, and flex and bring the knee on top of the heel and then point and reach. And we keep going. Again, flex and in and point and reach. Trying to keep the knee at the same height all the time. And again, and point. And flex, belly button is in. Last 2. Last 1. Good, you're just gonna reach it away, reach, 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 find the length, using the back of the leg, reach, 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 and bring the leg back in. Now maybe sit back on your heels quickly, thinking about weight of the heels, weight of your sit bones on your heels, arms by your side again. Just a couple of breaths in here, and then when you're ready, you're gonna think about rolling all the way back up, curling the tailbone under, and lifting up. Good, for the next one, we're gonna be on our side. We're gonna have the bottom knee bent and reaching the leg away. Now, we use the arm as a pillow. We try to keep one hip on top of the other. Hand is in front of you for support. We're gonna think about lifting the leg up and flex, bring the leg down. And point and reach and flex and down. Now make sure that as you move the leg, the pelvis is not traveling with you. You're keeping this side hugging in away from the mat slightly, and you have like the pelvis is not moving at all. So you keep one pelvis on top of the other and you just point and reach and flex and release. So you're really isolating the movement by reaching the leg away, keeping the pelvis square, and then release. And again, and lift it up, and squeeze. Just 2 more, reach, and squeeze. Last one, reach, and squeeze. We're gonna lift it up, and bring the leg in line with your hip, so make sure it's not too high. You want everything in just one line. Thinking about your glutes, we're gonna just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, very small pulses, keeping belly button in, and make sure you're not collapsing the waistline against the mat. So you keep using your core to stay really strong, and you just pulse and pulse and pulse. Keep going. Just 8 more. You probably start feeling a little bit of burning sensation around the side of the legs and the glutes. Almost there. We keep smiling and breathing. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Last effort. Last smile. And then when you're ready, slowly release. Shake it out a little bit if you need to before we go straight to the second side. So you have the bottom knee bent. Again, using the arm as a pillow. Trying not to collapse on the side. So make sure you're not just resting in here. You want to have the waistline activated so that you're not dropping. It's almost like if you're standing on the ground. And one hip on top of the other. And we go again. We point and lift the leg up. And then we flex and release. Same thing. Try to think. Both hips are stuck on top of each other. And the movement is happening from the waistline towards your toes. So you lift as you point. And then you flex and you squeeze. Trying to stay really still everywhere else. And lift it up. And release. Good. And again, and lift. And release. Good. And up. And down. Just 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. We're gonna go for the very last one. We're gonna keep the leg up. Now make sure it's in line with your hip, that it's not too high. So more or less on the same line. We're gonna go flexing the toes in a small pulses. Now in here, we don't give up on our waistline. We stay really strong and we try not to move the body as we move the leg. So we're really isolating from the glutes and the outside of the leg, keeping ribcage in, lower abdominals in, and we keep pulsing and pulsing and pulsing. Just give me 8 more. At the same time, we keep breathing and smiling. We're almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Keep reaching the leg away. Belly button is in. 1 more breath. Almost there. And then when you're ready, release. Shake it out a little bit. And let's go back into our quadruped position one more time on the mat. This time we're going to be on our hands and knees. So you want to think about your wrists being in line with your shoulders. And your knees, again, make sure they are not too far back. You want them more or less in line with your hip. Now, from here, we're going to keep the leg bent. So the knee is bent. And you're just going to think about flexing the toes and squeezing the glutes to open the leg to the side and then bring it back in. So you keep pressing the floor away from you with a really long spine. Belly button is in. We're just opening to the side and bring it back in. We try to do this, but it's staying as stable as we can. So we don't shift the body as we do this. We stay at the center, long neck, and we just open and squeeze. And open and squeeze. Good. Now level 1, you stick to this one. Level 2, you can bring the opposite arm to the side. And when you bring the leg in, you bring the arm down. And then again, and open together and bring it in. Leg and arm to the side and in. And leg and arm and in. And again, and open and in. Last 2. Last 1. Back to center. We're going to go straight to the second side this time. So think about second leg is up and in. So for now, we just use the leg, keeping toes flexed, opening to the side and bring it back in. Now think about not allowing the shoulders to drop, travel up towards the ears. You want to be squeezing shoulder blades away so that you have a really long neck and you just keep going. Opening the leg to the side and bring it back in. Belly button is in, ribcage is in. Just keep going. 4 more. Now level 2, if you're ready, we're gonna go. We're gonna open the leg and the arm and bring it back in. Trying to keep the torso very stable so we don't travel with it. We stay at the center, we keep pressing the floor away from us, and we just open and in, and open and in. Keep going, and open and in, open and in. Last one, and open and in. Stay at the center, reach the right leg away, keep pressing the floor away from you, lift it up, and the arm. We stay there, keep thinking about shoulders away from the ears, engaging your lats, lifting everything up, trying not to arch the spine. You're really long, long, long. Reach, reach, reach. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center and straight to the second side. Reach the leg away first, and then the arm. And same thing, keep thinking about plugging shoulder blades down and back, lengthening away from you, finding the length using the core. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Just again, if you want to sit back on your heels with the arms back, just release the sit bones down towards the heels. And then when you're ready, you can roll all this, yourself back up, sitting on your heels. Now, same position. We're gonna have both knees together, wrists under the shoulders, but making sure we're squeezing inner thighs together as much as we can, tugging toes under. Press the floor away from you with your hands and just lift the heels up, the knees off the mat. Now, when you lift the knees off the mat, you want to make sure you're not doing that by moving your torso. So you try to stay really still in this beautiful, strong upper body we've been building throughout the class. And you just think about pressing away the floor away from you. And now think, as you're pressing the floor away from you, you're hugging your abdominals in, and almost like if you can levitate, you're lifting the knees off the mat. Now, the closer you keep the knees to the mat, the harder it is. So if you go higher, this is slightly easier. If you go a little bit lower, this is harder. We stay there for one more breath, and then we release. Good. We're gonna do it one more time, same thing. Really strong torso. Press the floor away from you, lifting the chest up, connecting with your core. And now think about your core is lifting you up ever so slightly that you manage to hover the knees off the mat. We stay there. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release the knees back down. Good. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. Maybe roll the shoulders back a few times. And forward, same with the wrists. Anything. You may also want to have a sip of water before we continue. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go on to our forearms. Same thing with the forearms, with the shoulders with the elbows in line with the shoulders, and walking the knees a little bit farther back this time, because when we lift, we want to be able to be on our plank. Now in here, make sure you're not lifting the pelvis up. You want to try to have the pelvis in line with the shoulders, and you're not dropping either. So you're hugging everything in, reaching heels away, crown of the head forward. We stay here for a couple of breaths, and then when you're ready, you release the knees back down, trying to keep the torso in the same line. So don't drop it down. You're just hugging the knees down, but you keep the torso in the same position. Now when you're ready, we're gonna lift it up again. Find your plank. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Knees on the mat. One more time, and up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good job. Sit back on your heels one more time quickly. And then when you're ready, finding your high plank this time. So you're going to reach both legs away on your hands this time. And same thing, try not to have the bum too high. So you want to have the bum in line with the spine, reaching the heels back, shoulders away from the ears, connecting with your lats. Keep pressing the floor away from you. Now, if you want to, bring both legs together and lift one leg off the mat, and then release, change sides, back to center, and bring the knees back down. We're gonna do it one more time. So same thing, level 1, you just stay holding your plank, and level 2, we play around with the legs. So when you're ready, find your high plank first, reaching the heels back, squeezing inner thighs together, lifting from your core, making sure you don't end up in a banana shape. So you want a really long torso. Now lifting one leg off the mat and release, the other leg off the mat and release, finding your core, release the knees back down, and just quickly sit on your heels to release the lower back. Again, either with the arms by your side, or if you prefer this time, You have the arms extended in front of you. You stay here for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go into standing at the back end of the mat, keeping both legs parallel. Just let me move the camera a little bit so that you can see me better. So we're gonna have both feet parallel to each other, so hip distance apart. And just think, imagine you wanna sit on a chair, so you have the weight on your seat bones, pressing through the heels, and then almost when you're about to sit on the chair, you change your mind and you go back up. And again, think about reaching back, and almost when you're about to sit on the chair, you change your mind. Good. Now level 2, you're gonna reach the arms overhead as you sit, and then back up. Level 1, just have the arms in front of you, or you can even have them by your hip. But level 2, you're gonna think about really reaching back, sit, and lift back up. Now keep going at your own pace. You wanna make sure you're sitting back without sticking the bum out too much. So you want a really long lower back. Abdominals are in. You sit back, reach, and lift back up. And again, weight is on the heels. Sit back, and reach back up. And again, sit back, and up. Just 2 more. Sit back, and up. Last one, sit back, belly button is in, and then lift it up. Good. Now, we're gonna have right leg in front, left leg is back, and try to check first that the front knee is in line with the ankle when you bend it. So you wanna make sure when you're bending the knee, it's not too far forward, but it's more or less in line with the ankle. Now this leg, you keep squeezing the glutes. We have the arms up towards the ceiling as we stretch both legs up. And then keeping belly button in, we're gonna bend front knee and back knee, opening the arms to the side. Feel free to have the hands by your side all the time if you prefer. If you want the challenge of the coordination and the balance, then go with me, lifting up towards the ceiling, lifting from your pelvic floor as well. So everything is lifting up, and then as you bend the knees, you keep thinking about crown of the head, lifting up. So you never lose the length. You lift up, and then you keep pulling up as you bend the knees. And again, lift it up, and then bend. Good. And again, and up, and down, and up, and down. Good. Back to center, and we're gonna change sides. So first of all, before we go, we check again that when we bend the front knee, it's always in line with the ankle. Now, either hands by your side, or if you want the challenge of the coordination and the balance, we start with both legs extended, arms sit up towards the ceiling, and then think about bending both knees as you release, and then lift it up. And again, keep thinking you're reaching up towards the ceiling as you bend, and then you release. And again, and bend, and up. Now keep growing taller as you bend, and up. And again, go toe towards the ceiling, and up. Just last 2. Good. Last 1. Good. Back to center. Bring the legs back in. We're just gonna roll the shoulders back a few times. And forward. Good. Now arms straight up towards the ceiling. And really think about going up and over to the side. Now keep thinking about keep reaching as you keep going up and over towards the other side. So you wanna keep both feet grounded on the floor, but you don't wanna collapse here too much. You really want to think as you're going up and over, you're lengthening from your waistline. You're reaching, and then you keep reaching, going up and over towards the other side. And again, keep reaching up and over. Good. And up and over. Good. Just 2 more each side. Reach. Keeping belly button in. And reach. Good. Back to center. Drop the arms. Now have the palms facing me. We're gonna circle the arms around. As you circle the arms around, you look up towards the ceiling, bend the elbows, and release. And again, lift it up, look towards the ceiling, and bend the elbows, and release. And again, and lift, and release. Just 2 more. Lift, and release. Lifting up from your chest, not your lower back, just slightly reaching up, and release. And then when you're ready, drop your arms, chin to the chest, bend the knees, and roll all the way down towards the mat. Now, same thing, if you have any lower back issues, just to stay with the flexion of the thoracic spine. Everyone else, just go all the way down towards the mat. Crown of the head is dropping down, and then squeeze the glutes, shoulders away from the ears, roll all the way back up. And again, chin to the chest, belly button is in. Roll all the way down towards the mat. Now bend the knees, roll all the way back up. Good. Now in here, just the final test, and to make sure that we keep the length for the rest of the day, very slowly, we're gonna think about pressing the floor away from you. We're thinking about lifting up, 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 up towards the ceiling in one piece, squeezing the glutes, trying not to shift forward and back. So we really think about pressing the floor away from you with your toes, lifting the heels off the ground, and reaching up, up, up towards the ceiling, keeping rib cage on top of pelvis, and then release back down. And again, lift it up in one piece, and release. Level 2, if you want more challenge, arms straight up towards the ceiling with the shoulders away from the ears, and we lift up, and we release. And again, lift it up, and release. Now, every time you go up, you think you're growing 1 millimeter taller. Now, you keep this length as you bring the heels down. And again, lift it up towards the ceiling, keep this length as you bring the heels down. And again, and lift, and down. Last one, lift it up and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the heels down, and just shake your body. You're done for today. Thanks so much for joining me.